What's up, everybody? Omar Pereney from Oscark. Today, one of my most favorite people in the whole wide world, Melissa Stevens.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hi, sunshine.
Oh my God, it's so good to have you here.
What everybody doesn't know is we have this love for each other, right?
Yes.
Every time I talk to him, I'm like, hello, sunshine. Hello, my love.
This is so awesome. We're having so much fun before we even start recording. First question for you, Melissa Stevens, is how's your day going?
My day is going good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
No complaints.
What? Thank you for coming here to this crazy, hectic corner of downtown Houston.
This is what people need to know is how great this location is. We're like in the shadows of Minute Maid Park, in the hub of downtown, and downtown Houston compared to a year ago, 2 years ago, is coming back. There's people everywhere walking the streets. Life in Houston is coming back.
Life in Houston and most
COVID, we're done.
Most definitely, exactly. Life in the food and beverage industry. Something that I love telling people is not like, oh, is it ever coming back?
No, it's roaring back.
It's roaring back. The question is whether or not are you going to be ready for when it comes back? Which brings up a great point. Today we're talking about PR and marketing and messaging. When people come up with a project or start a project, one of the biggest questions is what is it more important? What they're doing, why they're doing it, or how they're going to do it?
Well, and another one is, and who is it for, right? Who's the audience? Because many times we see a restaurant they'll find a location,
right,
and then they start bolting on, this is the concept and this and that, and then you realize the location is not right for the concept.
Correct.
So that happens frequently.
Yeah.
In real estate, your real estate strategy, and I know you'll have some other experts on to talk about real estate. Real estate strategy is a big piece of it, but all these things have to come together. You don't work in silos. You don't think real estate and branding and PR and technology and culinary. It doesn't all exist apart.
Right.
It has to all come together.
So the first thing is you need a sound or bold concept. And I think a really good concept would work in different locations. And like you say, we'll talk about real estate maybe later, but also if you have a good concept, if you have a good plan, then you should be looking for sites and not the other way around. It's like you cannot put your shoes before you put your socks, right?
Correct.
So let's talk about how do we create an awesome concept. First of all, what is branding? I know that's like one of the first questions that comes up. So what is branding?
Well, branding, one time I met someone and I was getting on a plane and this person said, oh, what do you do? And I said, branding, media relations, marketing, whatever. And he said, oh, I read the book on branding. And I was like, oh,
the book. There's only the one and only.
So branding really is everything you touch and feel related to, and since we're talking restaurants, to a restaurant concept. So it's literally everything from the time you walk up to the front door. It's how the front door looks, how the hostess greets you, or the hostess greets you, everything you touch and feel with the brand, down to the salt and pepper shakers. But it's the logo, it's the website, it's the music, it's everything. I sound like an Eminem song, don't I? It's the music.
Oh my God, I love that. And what is the fundamental difference between branding, marketing, and PR? And here, bear with me, I'm gonna ask questions like if I don't know anything, just because I know you guys out there may have some of these questions.
So the brand, so let's just use this book. If this is the brand and come up with, say, a concept, right? So this is...
for the book or for a restaurant?
For the restaurant.
Oh, okay, a waffle concept.
Okay, so the waffle concept, Waffle Works.
Waffle Works.
That's it.
Oh, love it.
So this is Waffle Works, and the brand then is, that encapsulates the name, the logo, the colors of the logo. All of that is the brand.
The fonts.
The font, the whatever. Again, how everything is treated. Everything has to relate back to the brand.
Right.
And so that goes even into the training of the staff.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Are you a friendly concept? Are you a snooty concept? Are you a casual concept or whatever? That's all part of the brand.
The experience is also part of the brand.
The experience, everything you touch and feel. So from there, then you think about how do you market that?
Okay.
How do you use media relations? How do you use social media? How do you do your website? Everything extends from the brand.
Got it.
So the marketing is how do you sell it? How do you sell it? who do you sell it to? Who's your audience, right? So if you are having a restaurant in a suburban area, you probably will talk about it differently and market it differently than if you're in a downtown urban hub.
Right.
So that's the marketing part of it.
And the difference between, is PR part of marketing, is marketing part of PR?
PR is part of marketing. Media relations, social media, putting out email blasts, putting out flyers, guerrilla marketing, whatever you want to call it, it's all part of marketing.
Awesome, I understand that. So then, is there supposed to be a foundational marketing plan or budget, and then an operating one? And I like to talk about this because, you know, there's the before you open the restaurant and after you open the restaurant, and I would like to clarify that for the people that are listening.
Usually there's a pre-opening budget, right, that might include developing a website and logos and business cards, and sometimes it involves advertising, right? Some people actually still do advertising. They might buy an ad in a magazine, they might do TV, they might put ads on Facebook, whatever. So that's all part of the budget overall.
Opening
so it's like an opening
budget,
and then you have more a maintaining budget, a maintenance budget.
Okay, you guys out there, this is very, very important. If you haven't already owned or operated a restaurant, you want to make sure that you have, as part of your opening budget, your capital budget, a foundational or marketing budget, like Melissa just said, and then also ongoing. But ongoing, what does that percentage look like? I've seen it go from 0, unfortunately, to 5%. I think it's probably the most standard for restaurants. And recently, and I feel like we can just talk about marketing forever. I'm very passionate about it, and I don't know enough, so that's what makes me more excited.
Well, I mean, the percentage can be from here to there, like you said. It just depends. When you look at people who spend money on marketing, whether it's a Super Bowl ad or we live in Houston, there's someone who has a furniture store, he advertises all the time. It's really what you want your return to be, right? Because the more you spend, typically you're going to get that return back.
I love that you said that. So it is an investment.
It is an investment.
Guys out there, you're not spending in marketing. So if you had a machine that you put $1 in and it gave you $10, how many dollars would you put in it, right?
Correct. And I'm sure if you spoke to the person we're talking about who owns this furniture store in Houston, who's made tens and tens of millions of dollars, he would attribute it to his marketing.
Yeah.
And you talk about a brand, he's created a brand, and there he uses words to convey the brand, but it's all about the advertising.
And I think on that, so that's the pre-opening aspect. I think that's very important, but also on an operating budget aspect. One thing that I like to mention is that, yes, you have a marketing budget. A percentage of that should go to traditional marketing, and please, stop me or correct me if I'm wrong. Then a percentage of that should go towards digital marketing, which we know that's going, pretty much up every day. And from that budget, we're going to allocate a percentage for the creation of that content, and the other part's going to be for the distribution. And that's something that I feel like a lot of people are not doing correctly. Like, they're just creating a lot of content and putting it in front of the same people that they just already follow them, essentially. So we like to see people not just creating content, but putting that content in front of new people.
100%. And it's not just about creating the content, because at the end of the day, I like to say, years ago we had painted rocks, and then we had smoke signals and painted rocks, and then radio and TV, and now digital. It doesn't matter the medium you use. You still have to know how to talk to people, right?
Oh, yeah.
And convey what the message is. So just because your brother-in-law can do a social media ad for you doesn't mean it's the best way to go.
You're saying I shouldn't have my Aunt Sally take my pictures?
No, or create your logo or your website or any of those things.
I already think we need to start a Painted Rock podcast.
Yes.
This is such an awesome topic. I know we can talk about marketing and PR forever, Melissa, but if there was one, what would you say that it's the silver bullet for restaurant marketing?
There is none.
There's none.
There is none. No, there's none. Unfortunately, again, that's knowing who your audience and how you're going to reach them. So an example is, say we have a high-end restaurant and maybe more casual every day. So the high-end restaurant, you're going to use different tactics to reach that CEO, that professional who's got $200, $300 to put down for a meal.
Right.
versus the other one who you could get by with maybe Facebook ads or flyers at the local community center or whatever it may be. So you've got to look at it very differently.
I see. So is this something, the marketing, the PR, the message, the why, coming back to my original question today, and I think the why is very, very important when putting together a message. Is this something that people should try and just do it themselves with their Aunt Sally and, you know, their cousin and their niece that she's really good with, you know, technology stuff? Or should they hire an agency?
An agency will be better because they can help them create the plan, right? The roadmap to what they want to do. And maybe Aunt Sally has some talents. I don't know. I'm not going to discount Aunt Sally. But, you know, right, she could be creative. But if you have an agency who's done this work, they're going to give you a more solid approach to it.
Okay, Aunt Sally, nothing personal.
No, Aunt Sally, we love you. We love the brother-in-laws. We love everybody. But maybe sometimes it's good to listen to professionals, just like with you, right? I mean, you don't go out and create a restaurant and create a menu just because that's something you like, right? There needs to be a reason for the menu.
Yeah, some days I like it more than others.
Or you know, I know you talk in other podcasts about food costs, right? Many people just think, I'm going to go open a restaurant and I'm going to sell steak and lobster and this, and then they create a menu that has no thought about costs.
Right.
It's the same with creating a PR, media plan, social media plan, whatever. You have to know there's a purpose for everything.
And I think it kind of applies to different aspects of reopening a restaurant. You just want to have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, there's a bunch of people out there that can help you. There's videos in YouTube. You can, you know, reach out to us. You can schedule a consultation. We can help you have some clarity. You can go through the SBDC. They have great business advisors that could help you put together that plan. You want to know what is it that you want to do, how much it's going to take, how long it's going to take. And then from that, you will be able to separate all the different budgets, from capital budget to operating budget and so on. Also, very important to know your audience. What can someone do? Is there an exercise to figure out what is your audience?
You know, I like to say you can take an anthropological approach, right? Mm-hmm. To big word.
I like it.
To looking at who your audience is, right? And so again, back to what I said earlier, if you're going into a suburban area, how is it, you know, who is that person? One time we were doing a concept with someone and they said, oh, it's in the suburbs, but it's just like all the people here. And I said, no, really they're not, because maybe they travel, but they don't travel in the same way, right? And so depending, again, what your concept is, if someone understands fine dining to be one thing and your other target audience understands fine, right? Because everybody has a different perception of elegance, fine dining, what's good, what's not. So really you have to sit and look at your audience and figure out who they are. What do they do? What do they do for a living? Where do they work? Where do they play? You know, where do they live? What is their home like? All those things play into the plan and figure out who your target audience is.
This is such great information. Melissa.
But it's also fun. It's also so fun because it's like a little puzzle and you peel it back and you're like, okay, this audience is this. Because again, say here in Houston, your audience in the Heights is different than your audience right here in downtown versus Bel Air, Westview versus Sugarland, Woodlands. And it doesn't matter if you're here, you're Dallas, wherever you may be. You have to slice and dice the audience and figure it out.
So slice and dice your audience, come up with a plan, follow the plan. It's really important that you stay focused.
Stick to the plan.
Stick to the plan. Yeah, very much stick to the plan. So tell us about Ark Hospitality and why did you join Ark Hospitality?
Ark Hospitality, to me, it takes from the thought of Noah's Ark, right? Mm-hmm. And you put one of everything that you need into the boat. And that's what you've done with Ark Hospitality. You've got real estate people, you've got marketing people, accounting, construction, all of that in the boat with you. And so someone can call up and say, hey, who's in the boat? I need to know about this today. So you may be the cruise director on this big boat, the social director, and we're all part of the Ark.
Oh my God, I love it. This is such Instagram candy. I love you. Anything else you want to share with the audience?
No, I just think what Ark stands for is such a great resource for people because they may not be able to, like you were saying earlier, maybe they can't hire everybody who's in the ark, in the ship, but the fact that you can give them that sense of the resource. So maybe it's just a few questions they need to sit down with one of us and talk to us. Or maybe that conversation opens the bigger picture where someone said, I wanted to open a restaurant. Gosh, I didn't know I needed to this, right? Because people might not know about with accounting or legal, right? How do you account for tipping? And, you know, all these little nuances that are in the restaurant business that if you're not familiar with it, you have no idea.
So what we really wanted to help make, you know, the world, the
better place,
the state, a better place, a more delicious, a more prosperous place. We also want you guys to have access to all of these wonderful people that have been kind of pulling the strings in the back that you just didn't know. So you can go on the website if you want to talk to anybody. Just book a consultation, and not only you'll talk to them, but then when we hang out, we're going to talk about you.
Right. And we love dreamers, right?
Yeah.
We love people who have dreamed their life of having a restaurant.
Yes.
And they may have a very good, solid foundation for that restaurant. They may have their Aunt Sally's recipes or, you know, something really great that they've got. But then we can give them all those other pieces that they may not have thought of.
Yeah, we'll wrap.
We'll put a bow around it.
Exactly.
Put our arms around them.
Mm-hmm. Melissa, if you were to talk to Melissa Stevens from when you were 18 years old, 18-year-old Melissa Stevens, you're talking to her right now. What would you tell her?
I would say, you know, just you keep learning, right? You always learn. I remember someone once said to me, oh, I'm so-and-so. I'm an expert on, so this person said social media. And to myself, I was like, no.
I don't think Mark Zuckerberg is an expert on social media.
None of us are experts on any. We learn every day. And you learn from others. And so you learn from someone who's older, your age, younger, whatever. You keep learning and you keep your eyes open because everything changes.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much
My
for your
pleasure.
time. Love you to death.
Beso.
See you later.
Bye.